So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we try to cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time, around 20 minutes. Now, today we are going to be covering November 2nd, 2024's current affairs. And the important news items that featured in today's newspaper, or the topics that we need to zero in our attention on, are as following. So, let's take a look at today's topics. Okay. In total, we'll be focusing on four topics because these four topics are extremely important if you're serious about UPSC or State Civil Services examination. Topic number one is about low pollution in Delhi post Diwali. Generally, Delhi faces a very severe situation post Diwali as far as air pollution is concerned. But this year, pollution levels were lower than usual after Diwali. Now, what are the climatic or meteorological reasons behind that? We'll discuss this. Then, recently, scientists have discovered the first black hole triple system. Now, some of you might be familiar with what a black hole is, but what is black hole triple system? We'll know about this in our second topics discussion. Then recently, researchers from Finance Ministry talked about increased rural demand but depressed urban demand. Okay, so urban India is actually seeing slower economic activity as compared to rural India. Now, the reason pointed out for that is that food inflation is impacting more urban people than rural people. Okay, so basically, we'll focus on the inflation system or how we measure inflation in rural and urban areas and how, in general, we measure inflation. Okay, so inflation in rural and urban India. And last, which is a very serious news item, US has put Indian companies, in total 19 Indian companies, under sanctions for somehow supporting Russia in its war with Ukraine. Okay, so currently India and America's relationship has nosedived because of Gurpatwant Singh Pannu's assassination plot. The relationship has soured, and this is again one such factor that would further deteriorate the relationship between Indians and Americans. So we'll talk about this news item as well. All right. So let's begin the discussion without much delay, starting with low pollution in Delhi post Diwali. Now, what was in the news? Basically, actually, researchers from Indian Meteorological Department, they checked that the pollution levels, air quality level, one day before Diwali and on Diwali were air pollution levels were very bad. They were pretty severe. But the next day from Diwali, the air pollution levels or air quality levels drastically improved. Okay. Now, what is the reason behind this? Okay. So there are two basic reasons that are given for this. Okay. Generally, Delhi faces very bad pollution levels during winter months. Okay. And the reason for that is very simple. During winter months, the ground gets extremely cold. Okay. So what happens is during winter months, the lower layer, okay, the layer of air close to the ground is cold, whereas the layer above that is warm. Okay. So we have a colder layer at the bottom and warmer air at the top during winter months. Now, this is an unusual situation. Why? Because during normal times, warmer air warmer air during summer months, warmer air is closer to the ground and colder air is above it. This is during normal circumstances, okay? During summer months. So, whenever there is pollution in Delhi during summer months, the warm air has a tendency to rise, okay? So, all the pollutants in this warm air packet, they rise and they disperse off. But during winter months, colder air lies below warm air. And colder air has a tendency to descend, whereas warmer air has a tendency to rise. Therefore, this colder air gets trapped below this warmer air. So, all the pollutants get trapped in this colder air. Okay, so the basic reason for high air pollution during winter months is temperature inversion, air inversion. All right. So during winter months, because of air inversion, pollutants get trapped, and Delhi's air quality closer to the ground, the kind of air which people breathe, is very bad. So the reason why Delhi has bad air pollution during winter months, it's because of temperature inversion. But this time, Diwali happened in October as compared to last year, when last year Diwali was during November. Now, October is generally warmer than November. So, chances of temperature inversion were less. Okay. Plus, this year's October was the warmest in 73 years as reported by Indian Meteorological Department. So, temperature inversion was not that severe during October. Hence, the air closer to the ground had some scope to rise above and disperse the pollutants. And that is why the day after Diwali did not see that much pollution, because the pollutants got a chance to disperse, because number one, Diwali happened in October. Number two, this October was unusually warm. So it is one factor is warmer temperatures. Because of warmer temperatures, well, there was a chance that pollutants got dispersed. Okay. The other major reason is stronger winds. So this time around Diwali, winds were quite strong. And if winds are strong, then they have a tendency of blowing away the pollutants. And that is why the air above Delhi or any other place becomes little cleaner. Okay. So strong winds and warmer temperatures actually allowed pollutants to disperse. Okay. Now, warmer temperatures are associated with inversion height. I've told you, I've explained to you about inversion. All right. That's about it. So remember these two factors and remember this concept of temperature inversion. Okay. That's all you need to know from this news item. Now, second news item was about black hole triple system. Okay. So what was in the news? Basically, let's discuss that. And then we'll talk about what is this concept, black hole triple system. Okay. So a new study, basically various researchers got together and they started analyzing the pictures from various telescopes, and they found a black hole which was a black hole triple system. Now this black hole triple is 8,000 light years away from Earth, and it is situated in the constellation Cygnus. That is why this black hole is called V404 Cygni, because it is situated in the star constellation of Cygnus. When we observe from the Earth, this black hole appears to lie in constellation Cygnus. That is why it is called V404 Cygni. Now, this particular black hole is black hole triple. Now, to understand what black hole triples are, you need to know what black holes are, right? So, first, let's talk about black holes. So, a black hole is a region in space time where the pull of gravity or gravitational pull is so strong that nothing can escape it, not even light. So, this is a region in space time whose gravity is so high that even light cannot escape it, and that is why it appears black, because light cannot escape it and it doesn't reach our eyes. Therefore, this region appears black. This is because of very high gravity. Now, black holes were first predicted by Einstein, Albert Einstein, okay, in 1915 through his general theory of relativity. Okay, so remember this trivia. So black holes were first predicted in 1915, Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. But remember, Albert Einstein did not discover black holes. He just predicted them mathematically. Through his mathematical equations, he proved that black holes should exist in the universe. Okay. But then, after many years, when our space technology became more advanced, we had better images of the universe. We discovered black holes also, which were predicted by Einstein in 1915. Okay. Now the thing is, generally the black holes that are found by astronomers, they are called binary systems. What happens is that black hole's gravitational pull is so strong that it sucks in every material around it. So whenever a black hole approaches a star, it starts tearing that star apart. Okay, it starts sucking the material from that star. Okay, and it appears something like this. Okay, so this is basically a black hole, and this star material revolving around it is basically this black hole sucking away the star. Okay, now these are known as binary systems when you see a black hole and a star around it, or two black holes revolving around each other. So these are known as black hole systems, okay, or binary systems. But for the very first time, black hole triple has been found. What happens in a black hole triple? Okay, so in a black hole triple, there is a black hole and there is a nearby star that is being torn apart by this black hole. Okay, so this nearby star is being torn apart by this black hole, and there is a far away star which is also being torn apart by this black hole. So there are two stars that are attached to a black hole, and that's what makes it a triple, because there are three objects associated. Okay, as you can read from here, black holes discovered until now have been a part of binary system. Okay, in a binary system, you have one black hole and a secondary object, which might be a star or another black hole. But the black hole triple not only has one star which orbits the black hole about every 6.5 days. So in 6.5 days, one revolution of this small star gets completed, but also a more far off star which orbits at every 70,000 years. Okay, so basically it has two stars and one black hole. Now, this raises questions about how black holes are formed. Generally, what is found is that black holes are made from supernova. Now, what is a supernova? So, whenever a star nears its end life, okay, so whenever the fuel of a star which provides it energy gets finished, then that star explodes. A very heavy explosion happens, which is known as supernova. Okay, so a star dies like that basically. So that star explodes and all the material gets collapsed on itself. Okay, so after a big explosion, supernova, the entire star's material collapses and it creates a black hole. So generally black holes are created by a supernova, but during this analysis of a triple system, it was found that supernova doesn't explain why two stars are attached to this black hole. Okay, so scientists have given another explanation of formation of black holes basically. Okay, so they say that V404 Cygni was not formed by a supernova. Okay, because had there been a supernova before the formation of this black hole, there wouldn't have been any stars around it, just one star. So from supernova, black hole is created, and that black hole is generally a binary system. But this is a triple. That means there was this another concept or another formation process that made this black hole, and that formation process is known as direct collapse. It is also known as failed supernova. You just need to know these two terms. Okay, just remember that black holes found around a binary system or found in a binary system are formed from a supernova, whereas black holes found in triple systems are formed by direct collapse or failed supernova. That's about it. Okay, I hope you understood what black holes are, but in case if this was a little difficult for you to understand, you can ask me any doubt, and no matter how simple that doubt is, please make sure that you ask them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer all your doubts. Okay, so I hope I have explained to you what this news item or this black hole or black hole triples are, but still, if you doubt, please ask me. Okay, all right. Topic number 3, which is inflation in rural and urban India. So, what was in the news basically? Finance Ministry's own monthly review for September states that rural demand continues to strengthen in half one of financial year 2025. So, first half of 2024-25, rural demand continues to strengthen. Okay. However, urban demand is not doing as well as rural demand. Now, the reason given for that is that urban India seems to be doing worse in this high inflation environment. Okay, because of high inflation, most of people's incomes are getting consumed away because of high inflation, and this has caused less disposable income with the households, so that they are not able to spend it on luxury goods. So basically what has happened is, because of high food inflation, most of the income of urban households gets consumed away. They have little income to spend on luxurious items. That is why urban demand is doing worse than rural demand. Okay, you can see over here also there is this graphic which shows you the picture of automobile sales in rural and urban India. You can see there is rise in automobile sales in rural India, whereas there is a decline in automobile sales in urban India. That means urban people are finding it difficult to buy things. Okay, that's why they have stopped buying automobiles. This shows that urban demand is falling, whereas rural demand is rising. And the major reason for that is food inflation. Okay, because most of your income is getting eaten away through expenditure on food. Now, you need to know how inflation is measured in India. Well, there are various ways through which inflation is measured in India. One is consumer price index, the other is wholesale price index. Okay, now, when we want to see how the consumers are facing the brunt of inflation, how prices are being felt by consumers, then we take a look at consumer price index. Okay. Now, consumer price index is calculated by National Statistical Office, which is under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Okay, and it basically divides different items which general public purchases. Okay, and then we track the prices of those general items. All right, now CPI has various categories. We mentioned CPI combined. We measure CPI combined, that is the consumer price index of entire country. Then we measure CPI rural, which is consumer price index of entire rural India. Then CPI urban. Now, all three of them are measured by NSO. But we also calculate CPI industrial worker, CPI rural labor, CPI agricultural labor. Now, these three forms of CPI are not measured by NSO, they are measured by Labor Department under Ministry of Labor. Okay, so remember, consumer price index has different categories. One is consumer price index combined, rural, urban. They are measured by NSO. These three are measured by Labor Department. Okay. Now we are comparing CPI of rural India and urban India. Okay. And as you can see, the entire what happens is by what we do in CPI is we identify different categories of items. Okay, and we track the prices of these items. Okay, so food and beverages, intoxicants, clothing, footwear, housing, fuel, light, and we track the prices of these items. Now, as you can see, for measuring CPI rural, food weightage of food items is 54%, whereas in urban India, the weightage for food items is 36%, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is why maybe urban India is facing more food inflation or any other reason. Generally, it is said that there are different ways of measuring CPI rural, different ways of measuring CPI urban, and that difference is due to different weights attached to different categories. Now, what you need to do is remember these categories, not the subcategories, but these 6 categories. All right. And we'll move to last news item, which is US puts Indian companies under sanctions. So what has happened is United States has put 19 private firms from India and 2 Indian nationals on a list of nearly 400 entities and individuals. So USA basically has released a list of 400 entities. Okay, 400 companies and individuals. US has named them, and USA has put sanctions on these 400 entities. Among these 400 entities are 19 Indian companies and 2 Indians. Okay, so 19 Indian companies and 2 individuals, Indian individuals, belong to this list of 400, and these 400 are being sanctioned by USA. Again, this would create a lot of problems for the good relationship that India and USA shares. Now, what is the reason for releasing this list of 400? USA says that these 400 are responsible for indirectly helping Russia in its war against Ukraine. So, what these companies have done is they have sold certain goods to Russia. Okay. Now, these companies sold certain goods to Russia. Okay. And those goods are dual use goods. So, what do we mean by dual use goods? Dual use goods are those goods which can be used for peaceful purposes. They can also be used for war machines. So for example, microelectronics. They can be used to, you can be used for phones. They can also be used for missiles. Okay, so there are certain dual use items. So these companies were selling dual use items to prevent sanctions from USA. But USA has finally caught them, and USA says that these 400 entities were aiding Russia in its war against Ukraine, and that is why we are sanctioning them. Okay. So USA says that it aims to disrupt sanctions evasion. These companies were evading sanctions because selling they were not directly selling military equipment. They were selling dual use items. And they were saying that we are selling these items for peaceful purposes, but Russia was using them for military purposes, and they knew about it. Okay. So by just pretending that we are selling normal items, they were evading sanctions. So USA has put them under sanction list. Okay. Some of these items are microelectronics, computer numerical control systems. So basically, USA, European Union, UK, and Japan created a list of items that would be considered dual use and that are prohibited from selling to Russia. That list is called Common High Priority List. Okay. So if you are selling some of these common high priority lists to Russia, then you will be put under this list of sanctions. This was in the news basically. All right. That's about it. That's all you need to know from today's newspaper. And if you need to revise today's newspaper, which is highly recommended, then please download our PDF file from our Telegram channel. Where can you find our Telegram channel? Well, below this video, in the comment section, I have shared a link of my Telegram channel. All you need to do is just click on that link. It will take you to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download the PDF for not just this lecture, but all the other lectures featuring on our YouTube channel. All right. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.